We essentially recruited couples where the positive partner was already on antiretroviral therapy and had a suppressed viral load, and they had an HIV negative partner. And we follow them. They'd already made the decision not to use condoms because we were interested in transmission risk if you didn't use condoms and just the protective effect of the treatment alone. So we know these drugs are highly efficacious to treat HIV infection, and we now know that you can have an almost normal life expectancy if you use these drugs. But what we were interested in looking at was the additional preventive benefits of antiretroviral therapy. We did it in 2 phases. So we did phase 1, which was 2010 to 2014, and we recruited both heterosexual and gay male couples for that part of the study. And at that time, we recruited over 500 heterosexual couples and about 300 gay couples. And by the end of the study, we had very good estimates in heterosexual couples that the risk of transmission was effectively 0 when the positive partner was on effective treatment. We didn't have quite enough follow-up in gay couples, so we extended the study for another 4 years to 2018, and essentially we followed 1,000 gay male couples where one is positive on treatment and one is negative over this period to look and see if there were any cases of transmission within the partnership. And effectively at the end of the study, after 8 years and almost 77,000 condomless sex acts, we found no such cases of transmission.
Happy Pride!
When I was taking care of AIDS patients in the very early 1980s, we didn't even know what the virus was. We had no diagnostic tests, and we certainly had no treatment because we didn't know what the virus was. If you look at what's happened over the now 37 years since the first cases were recognized, it's been most extraordinary.
And we only included periods of time in the analysis where we had very good data. So we had viral load results for the positive partner at the beginning and the end of the time period. We had HIV negative results for the beginning and the end of the period. We knew the negative partner wasn't using PrEP or PEP or condoms. And so we very carefully looked for cases of transmission. And the other thing that we did, which is very important, was that actually 15 of the HIV negative partners during the 8-year follow-up actually became HIV positive. So you're obviously concerned, did that come from the person on treatment, even though we knew that about 1/3 of the HIV negative men were having sex with other partners outside the relationship. So we did a very specialist virological sequencing test which looks at the genetic characteristics of the virus.
So you went top left to bottom right and then you went to partners control transmission.
And if you look at the characteristics of the virus in the positive partner and in the newly positive partner, you can tell how closely related they are. So how related they are or how unrelated they are. And in all 15 of these cases, the viruses were so genetically different, we could tell that the HIV negative partner had acquired the infection from someone outside the main relationship, so it did not come from the HIV positive person. So what we could see is that actually 6 of the cases didn't even acquire the same subtype of virus, but we sequenced them to see how closely linked they were on the tree. So we've got the partner sequences in blue, and then we've got control sequences that we knew were linked in red and orange. And so what we can see is that all the blue lines are not closely related on the tree at all.
there are special populations that often are disenfranchised and don't have the ready access to drugs, and that's something we really need to work on. I mean, within this country, there are pockets, particularly in the Deep South, where people are disenfranchised. They don't have the capability or even the facilities with which to get tested and then be put on an appropriate antiretroviral drug, or if they're at risk, to be put on pre-exposure prophylaxis. They're often a stigmatized population. If you look in the United States, 12% of the population is African American, and yet up to 50% of the new infections are among African Americans, mostly African American men who have sex with men. So there are pockets of populations that we need much better access to get them into care, to get tested, and to treat them if in fact they are infected.